What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. So thank you guys again for joining us for another recap on today's trading. A very quick day. This is my last week of school, so I wanted to make sure that I was very efficient with my trades. I had pretty much a plan coming up with the stocks that I performed technical analysis in yesterday. I'm pretty much going to be explaining my whole thought process on today's trades. I ended up trading FTR locked in 3.09% profit by selling at 1.94. And I shouted it out at 1.88, and it actually opened around that point. So a lot of you guys were able to jump in with me once I shouted it out. So I'm going to talk to you guys how I use the group chat, how I use the different Excel sheets that I've been able to create, and how I use them to benefit me, right? And it's all about having a plan. So I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm seeing. And then I'm going to dedicate 5 minutes to the live chat to answer all your questions. So I have a couple people just tuning in right now. So we have about 50. Give me one quick second. Let me start sharing my screen, and then we should be good. But overall, very productive morning. All right, so this is pretty much FTR. Obviously, I was keeping my eyes on JNUG just because I was waiting for the bounce. It did have a solid bounce from 453, hit a resistance at 470, which is realistically what I thought. The reason why was because it dropped below the support. When it dropped below the support of 471, it had a huge red candlestick, meaning that was a really strong support around that 470, right? Now it's trying to make its way up, so we might be jumping into this one to lock in, another 5% profit. So let me make this in a sense recap very quick. Right now we're trading right around 195, and if you guys see as the market opened, it actually hit lows of when the market actually opened, it hit lows of 189, but during pre-market it was actually of 1.88. Hit a highs of, well, right now we're at the peak of 1.95. But why is it that I saw potential, right? So I'm going to perform a 2-day analysis for you guys so you guys can see the complete breakdown on what is it that I saw. So looking at FTR, I shouted this one out yesterday, and I think we actually talked about this one in our Sunday stock talk. And what I saw was that there was a support, there was a bounce at 1.87. I called this one out yesterday. I called it out in pre-market movers today within our TechBot Solutions group chat. And then where's the resistance? So I use all these different indicators as an RSI, level 2 to know where people are buying and selling, and then EMA and SMA to identify upward momentum. But pretty much once I saw that it was at 187, if you look when when I was looking at the RSI when it was at 187, it was showing to be actually a little bit lower. And then when the actual stock started to pick up this morning, I saw that it started making its way up. It's again live at the current moment, but let me see if I can actually focus a little bit closer to 1 day, 1 minute. Yeah, there we go. So you could actually see that at this 1.97, it went a little bit below 40 RSI and then ended up starting to pick up, right? So pretty much what I saw when it comes to trading FTR was that I saw a bounce. I saw after performing a couple-day analysis, like a 5-day analysis, it did have solid bounces. It had a support at 1.8, 1.85, had a resistance at around $2, right? Its peak at $2. My buddy Chance ended up coming over today, and then he talked about, okay, what is it that you're looking at? Well, I told him, look, I'm looking into this. I set up my whole plan. Looks like I just got a message. JNUG went last from below 520. Wow, JNUG's really dropping. But so pretty much I saw that it had a resistance at about $2 and it had a support around 185. Is that realistic to try to buy in at 185 and to sell at $2? Yes, but it doesn't look like it was actually moving at that specific point. So I set up a plan, and simply what I did was I went to my Excel sheet. I put JNUG there, and then I went over my criteria, and then over the 100,000 volume, the RSI below 35 or at 35 RSI, and then above EMA showing signs of upward momentum. I put FTR, my target price, the support, the resistance, right? My stop loss, my max loss because of the $1,000 challenge, and then the 1.88, that's my purchase price. Target sell price was 1.94. It was actually 1.99. I changed it because that's actually what I ended up selling at. And then my stop loss at 1.86. And the reason I put my stop loss at 1.86 was because the support was at 1.87. And to minimize my loss, I pretty much wanted to, sell right below the support, and then buy back in once it bounces at a lower point. And that's just my style of trading. In no way do any of you guys have to mimic what it is that I do. But then with this little formula that I created for you guys, the percentage risk from buying at 1.88 and stop lossing out at 1.86 is a 1.06%, and my percentage for growth that I actually locked in is 3.09%. And if you guys know anything about the $1,000 challenge, realistically, you just have to lock in 2.33% growth per day, and that will get you from $1,000 to $20,000 within 1 year. And that only means that you have to day trade 3 days out of a 5-day period. And that's really just it. So I had a plan. I knew where I was buying, I knew where I was selling, and that's the whole thing. That's why I want you guys to be using some form, if it's not my criteria sheet. So I call this the prime berry picks. And the reason I do that is because let's say you go berry picking. You're not going to pick every single berry because they're not at their prime, right? Just like trading these stocks, they're not all going to be at that buy point to sell for a profit. So you use a certain criteria in a sense to filter out bad stocks, and then for you to come down to, okay, well, FTR was my stock today, and this is, you can put 2 or 3, whatever it is, that are at their prime, and focus on them. Set up a plan for each and every one of them, and then share it with the group. And that's exactly what I did, and a lot of you guys were able to benefit off of it. So if I go to the Technical Solutions group chat, it looks like we have quite a bit of people that actually ended up being able to profit off of it. So they said, I got into FTR at 1.88, sold at 1.93. Some locking in $300 worth of profit, and because a lot of people also by being able to day trade or hold overnight for JDST. It's all about just identifying previous trends and setting up a plan for success, right? Managing risk. So for those that have been consistently, losing profit on JNUG, and you guys are getting very discouraged, just know that because you guys don't cut your losses, you're only gonna see, more loss. And that's the thing. You have to be very quick when trading these stocks. If I was trading JNUG, let's say I'm going into JNUG. If I bought into JNUG about 3-4 days ago, I bought in at $6. Right now it's at $4.50. That's $1.50 of loss. That's about 25%, I believe, of the actual value that you originally had with that specific stock. So overall, discouraging. I totally understand it. I totally get why you would be discouraged, but understand that you didn't have a plan. So having this criteria sheet and telling you where you're buying, where you're selling, and where you're going to be cutting your losses, and saying, I promise to honor my plan on every trade, will only allow you to become more systematic and minimize loss to promote growth. So if you could see the RSI indicator right now is around 30 RSI, below 30 RSI, which is actually very, very low. But in no way does that mean that I want to buy in, because now JNEG doesn't meet any of the other criteria, showing signs of upward momentum or anything like that. And that's why it's so important to have more than just one criteria, because you want to make sure that you're catching it at the bounce. So it looks like 450 is a solid bounce. Hopefully it holds above that. If it goes above EMA, this is one that I might be jumping into. But because of everything that I have going on today, I want to make sure that I have a plan, that I stick to it, and that I minimize loss, especially because I'm up on the day. So overall, I do want to give a huge shout out. This is actually my when I shouted it out. Originally, I was planning to sell 1.98. That was 5% growth, but obviously it didn't play out that way. And I sold at 1.94 as hit highs of about 1.95. And that's great. A lot of people have been able to profit off of that. And that's the whole point of this group. That's the whole point of Technical Solutions. It's to share best practices, to share mistakes in effort to promote growth. And I want to make sure that each and every one of you have that same opportunity, but you're only going to achieve success by having a plan. And in no way do I mean that you guys have to mimic or trade exactly like I do, but set up a plan that works for you. But again, managing and cutting losses is one of the most important things. I think my buddy Chance, actually, who's going to be here, who's right next to me, is actually a trader that can vouch for that 100%, because of some of his previous trades, that it takes a couple weeks, right, to even make up that loss. And that's something that I want to make sure that you guys don't have to go through, and that's right. I mean, let me go ahead and see if you guys are gonna come over here. So this is actually my buddy Chance. I met him through one of our traders. I think within Technical Solutions. It was
a long time ago.
Yeah,
it was through Tech Buds, but it was through another friend of a friend.
It was like Brandon. And
it was Brandon.
John.
It was Brandon and John.
Yeah, so Brandon and John are actually guys that I went to school with. I started this group. They joined this group, and then they told Chance about it, and then Chance has been coming over from time to time over to my house to trade, and now he's getting back into it. But one of the biggest mistakes that he made is that he didn't get more in the frame. Is that he didn't cut losses, And again, he was a new trader, so that's definitely a mistake that a lot of us make, especially with certain individuals within our group that share their losses today with JNUG. And some are taking a loss of 25%, 20%, and in no way is that a reason to quit. But that's just another reason for you guys to get a better understanding that how important cutting losses is, because if you minimize loss, that is how you're going to see profit. If your target profit is 2.33% growth a day, then you need to understand to stay in the green, you need to be cutting losses at at less than 2.33%, even less than 1% or 1% or 1.5, whatever it is that you come up with. Stick to it, and no matter what, you want to make sure that you're always in the green and you have a plan for success. And I can't stress that enough. And I've been trying to make different, in a sense, just different like Excel sheets and different challenges and different just tools that you guys can utilize to become more systematic and become more organized, because that is really, I think, something that everyone struggles with. It's like saving money. Well, anyone can save money. It's a very simple concept, but why does no one do it? It's just because you get greedy. You tend to spend money on things in the moment, just like making profit. Sometimes you get greedy, you don't lock in your profit, and then you end up being in the red, and that's one of the worst feelings, right? Believing that a stock is going to continue to rise, but ends up not rising and continuing to just go down, and then you end up getting into the mindset of like, okay, well, then I just want to break even, and I'll just let it come back up. Well, no, these are, penny stocks, or these are ETFs, and they don't work according to your belief. And you have to understand that this market that we're investing in, it's a very, aggressive and competitive market. And if you don't have a plan, and if you're not quick in reacting, then you won't be successful. And I can tell you that from the very beginning. But if you start implementing these rules and you start implementing these strategies and becoming a more strategic and organized trader, then overall you should have a better chance in being successful when it comes to trading, and when becoming successful in any specific market that you're choosing to invest in. If you're knowledgeable and understand the market and have a plan to how to succeed, then why wouldn't you be successful, right? And do you agree with that?
I would completely agree with that.
But that's really just it. I'm going to start answering some of your questions. So let me go ahead and log into the group chat. So there's a lot of you that were trading JNUG and ended up trading JDST yesterday for a change, and a lot of you were able to go from a red account to a green account because of how much JDST has been going up. And if you guys don't know that, in a sense, just comparison, JNUG, when that goes down, JDST goes up. So it's almost the inverse ETF. So JNUG is actually supposed to go up when our economy goes down, but when our economy goes up, JDST is supposed to rise because it's a bear ETF. So let me go ahead and start answering some of your questions if you guys have any. But overall, I really enjoyed how quick today was. I mean, in 30 minutes, I locked in the 3.09% profit. And it was something with even this Excel sheet that I created even allows me to be a little bit more systematic because it tells me exactly what I'm locking in. And then where I should be cutting my losses. And right as I saw the RSI hit above 70 RSI, although my target sell price was at 1.98, I saw that at 94 it was already hitting its peak as in being overbought. I didn't want to risk it. I was in the green. Some indicators were telling me that it was going to take a dip, and it actually did, and that's why I just ended up selling. It did end up going one step more, but again, don't be greedy, lock in the profits and stay in the green. Vince Boswell says, Ricky, I don't know if you've had any success. It's like in your teachings. If you haven't, I plan on being your first $1 million student success. If so, I will be next. So pretty much he's saying that he's going to be the next $1 million student within Tech Solutions. And that's great. I just want to make sure that this group, I think one of the things that we do best, again, is sharing best practices and sharing mistakes and exposure to mistakes. And I want to make sure that every day, like if you guys have the opportunity to do so, if you guys are part of Tech Solutions, these Excel sheets that I shared with you guys, the reason I want you to input your data is to take a screenshot and then share it with the group, because I want people to get the understanding on the criteria that you're using and the different, in a sense, indications that you're using to identify potential. So for them, if it's not working, if they're not learning from, in a sense, my trading, then maybe they can learn from your style of trading. And that's the whole point of this group. If you're not learning from me, then I hope that you can learn from other people within this group, or people that promote growth, right? We have a very welcoming community. I think it's a community that's unlike any other. And it's for both experienced and new traders. So if you guys do want to be a part of Tech Solutions, the link is provided for you down in the description. And I'd love to be a part of your success. And in the top pinned post within the Facebook platform, you'll have access to our group chats, which then allows you to network with over 12,600 members worldwide with Tech Solutions. And again, it is a free networking group. So this is by the Tech Guy 19. So it says, Ricky, I see that your usual indicators are RSI, EMA, SMA, supply and resistance. Do you play certain patterns? Well, if you guys know anything about me, I'm more of a technical trader. I've tried momentum trading. I'm just not a very risky guy. And that's one of the messages I actually got yesterday. It's like, Ricky, if you have over $30,000 on your account, right when I originally started trading, why is it that you only trade 3,000? You should be trading more to lock in more profit and stuff like that. I'm a very conservative trader. Again, I do day trading as a part-time thing, sometimes for 30 minutes, sometimes for 2 hours. But in the way that I do it, I lock in consistent profit that in the long run, I end up making, I think, more money than someone with, trading $10,000 because of the type of system that I have set up. So no way do I want you guys to mimic, in a sense, my style of trading. But again, I'm sharing my best practices in a sense for you guys to learn from them, my mistakes and my best practices. So I do look for certain patterns. I look for, sometimes I go after the biggest losers, because instead of going after the biggest gainers and almost hitting their peak, if I go after the biggest losers, I feel like they have the most margin of profit, and they might be bouncing back quicker, right? And that's the whole thing that I do. I perform a technical analysis, identify support, resistance, use my RSI indicator to indicate good buy point, and then use the EMA to buy in when it's going up, to give myself a better opportunity to get in and get out in the green, right? And I'm pretty quick, and I lock in my profits if it's at 2% or at 5%. And usually when I had over the $30,000 account within Robinhood, I can do that 3 or 4 times a day and lock in 10% on my overall $3,000 risk account or trade. And then that was my trade for the day, locking in around $250 a day. Was more than enough for me. I do different things on the side, and in no way did I want to get ahead of myself, right? I think that's one of the biggest things that, in a sense, draws people back, and that's being greedy. And although I might be a little bit more conservative than the majority of people, that's just my style of trading. What do I think about Bitcoin? I don't know anything about Bitcoin, so I'm sorry, Manor. I don't know anything about it. Still couldn't make any profit on Robinhood as it restricts me to buy and sell in the same day. This is by Omar Shakel. I actually ended up doing my day trade with FTR today on Robinhood. So I know it doesn't work for all of you guys, but if you guys don't know, we do have that $1,000 challenge. I mean, this video is in a sense a recap for that. And I mean, I used to trade with over $30,000, and my pattern day trade restriction would in a sense affect me. And the reason I started this challenge is in a sense to share my best practices, overcoming these obstacles that I encounter. And there's a bunch, right? And I think that's one of the biggest things. One of the biggest things is you need to filter out a bunch of stocks to make sure that the stocks that you trade are at their prime. And that's why I created this Excel sheet. The prime berry picks checklist is in a sense for you to create criteria that the stocks that you trade and only trade meet this criteria that are at their prime. And I think filtering out a bunch of bogus stocks that are not at their prime, and just chasing them and just focusing on the stocks that are seeing potential, according to you as an investor with the criteria that you come up with, then focus on those and avoid all the others, and set up a plan every single time you guys trade and stick to it. Don't break your rules, because the more you break them, the more loss that you'll see. I can promise you that. So are you not starting this challenge in May, like you said yesterday? This by Aaron Wilcox. I totally am. And the reason I still day traded today is, again, I still like to do it. So once we do start on May, I'm just gonna remove whatever funds I have from that are above $1,000 and stick to this $1,000. So I'm just kind of getting ready or preparing for it, and still overcoming some of the hesitations. But I definitely want to make sure that you guys know that May 1st of 2017, I will start officially the $1,000 challenge, just because a couple of days that we started before, because of the restriction on my account, it's been off and on that I'm good for like 1 or 2 days, and then they re-restrict my account without me actually doing any day trades. So officially they said by May 1st everything should be good. I told them exactly what I'm doing with my group and the amount of people, my following, that are active traders within Robinhood. And I want to make sure that, in a sense, I I'm a good promoter for Robinhood, right? And I want to make sure, in no way am I being compensated for them, but I want to make sure that I talk highly of them, but I need them to work with me with this, in a sense, pattern day trade restriction. So they said that they'd work with me and help me out with that. So how do you use TD Ameritrade? You said sink or swim, but I think it's think or swim. Scan for potential profit or scanners. I actually have a helpful video talking about how you can exactly set up a, in a sense, your scan within within Thinkorswim platform. So go under my helpful videos, and that playlist should be right there. But that's really just it, guys. I do have a lot of things that I have to do today, so I do apologize. Huge shout out to both, Chance and then Serge for, in a sense, trading with me in the morning. And then thank you to all you guys. I can't thank you guys enough again for the support, and for you guys waking up again so early and trading with all of us. It's one of, the most exciting parts of my day, being able to network. And especially I love doing these live recaps, because now I get to answer and actually network, live with you guys. And that's one of the biggest things. So I hope you guys like it. If you guys do, feel free to give the video a thumbs up. We did end up hitting a little bit over 10,200 subscribers, I believe. So if you guys could subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. We upload daily recaps and then a helpful video every day at 5:30 Mountain Standard Time, in a sense to give you guys a better understanding of frequently asked questions or some specific suggested videos that you guys actually asked for. So if you guys want to recommend anything, don't put it in the live chat, put it in the comments, and tag me, just so I can see, and then I'll make a video specifically on the strategy or concept that you're asking me to come up with. Ben was like, why is the other dude still in the frame? I mean, come on. But overall, thank you guys again so much. Can't thank you guys enough for the support. I hope you guys end up, again, the day in the green. But again, the only way you're going to do that is by having a plan and sticking to it, right? If you're already in the red, then, cut losses possibly, and set up a plan that can be a little bit more successful. Reach out to me if you guys have any questions. The best way to reach out to me is within the TechBud Solutions group chat, and DM me, okay? The TechBud Solutions website is still in the works, and we're not probably going to launch on May 1st just because of everything that's been going on. But we definitely want to keep you guys up to date. So if you guys have any suggestions that you guys want to include for TechBud Solutions and how we can make it, specifically and uniquely, ideal for you as like a networking trading platform, then go ahead and you can actually, again, DM me through the TechBud Solutions group chat, and that would be the best way to receive a response as soon as possible. Jordan Spartley said just subscribed. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Alex MMM says you're the best, dude. I really can't thank you guys enough, but I'll let you guys go because I know you guys need to go as well. Take care, guys, and I hope you guys have an amazing week. And like always, let's end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.